The Galactic Tribunal's grandest chamber had never witnessed such chaos. The crystalline walls that typically hummed with orderly deliberation now vibrated with terror as the Void Render thrashed against its quantum restraints. Standing 12 feet tall, its obsidian carapace gleamed under the artificial suns, while 6 crimson eyes burned with millennia of accumulated rage. The creature's roar shattered 3 recording devices and sent half the jury diving for cover behind their floating platforms. Ambassador Zethkar of the Hegemony adjusted his ceremonial robes with trembling appendages. In his 3 centuries of legal practice, he had prosecuted war criminals, genocidal AIs, and planet crackers, but nothing had prepared him for this monstrosity. The Void Render had single-handedly devastated 7 star systems before its capture, turning thriving worlds into lifeless husks with its ability to devour energy itself. "The prosecution rests," Zethkar announced, his voice barely audible over the creature's continued bellowing. "This abomination has consumed billions of lives. There can be no sentence but immediate termination." Chief Arbiter Velnara, her blue skin pale with stress, raised her gavel with shaking hands. The tribunal had heard 3 days of testimony detailing the Render's path of destruction across the Outer Rim. Entire civilizations had been reduced to frozen corpses drifting in dead space. The evidence was overwhelming, the verdict predetermined. "Before we proceed to sentencing," Velnara's voice cracked slightly, "the defense may present any final arguments." The chamber fell silent except for the Render's labored breathing. Its defense attorney, a brave Altruian named Kesslin, had fled the chamber hours ago after the creature's restraints had briefly flickered. No one blamed him. The beast was clearly beyond redemption, beyond reason, beyond any hope of... "I'd like to say something." The voice was small, clear, and utterly human. Every head in the chamber turned toward the public gallery, where a figure stood among the observers. It was a child, no more than 8 standard years old, with dark hair and eyes that seemed far too old for her face. She wore a simple gray jumpsuit marked with the insignia of the Terran Refugee Corps. "Young human," Velnara said gently, "this is not the appropriate... Please." The girl stepped forward, her small hands gripping the barrier rail. "I know what it's like." Security drones immediately moved to intercept, but she was already climbing over the barrier with the fluid grace that only human children seem to possess. She landed softly on the chamber floor, 30 meters from the thrashing beast. "Stop her!" Zethkar shrieked, but the guards hesitated, unwilling to harm a child even as she walked steadily toward certain death. The Void Render noticed her approach and turned its 6 blazing eyes upon the tiny figure. Its roar intensified, causing several jury members to collapse from sonic shock. The creature strained against its bonds, quantum fields sparking as they fought to contain its fury. But the girl kept walking. "I know you're scared," she said, her voice somehow carrying across the chaos. "I was scared too when they found me on Kepler 438b after everyone else was gone." The beast's struggles grew more frantic as she approached, its claws scraping futilely against the energy restraints. 20 meters, 15, 10. "You're not evil," the girl continued, stopping just outside the creature's reach. "You're just hungry. And alone. I can feel it, the emptiness inside you. It hurts, doesn't it?" For the first time since its capture, the Void Render's roar faltered. Its 6 eyes focused on the small human with something that might have been confusion. "When the pirates came to my colony, they took everything. My mom, my dad, my little brother. They took the light from our sun. Just like you did to those other places. But they weren't feeding like you are. They were just... cruel." The chamber held its collective breath as the girl reached out slowly, her small hand approaching the creature's massive clawed appendage. "You don't want to hurt anyone else. You're just so empty inside that you can't help it. But maybe we can help each other." The moment her fingers touched the Void Render's claw, the transformation was instantaneous. The creature's struggles ceased entirely. Its burning eyes dimmed to a soft amber glow, and for the first time in recorded history, a Void Render made a sound other than a roar, a low, keening whine that spoke of endless loneliness and pain. The girl stepped closer and wrapped her arms around the creature's massive forearm in the most innocent of gestures, a hug. The beast went completely still. In that moment of perfect silence, every being in the chamber felt it. The psychic emanation wasn't the crushing despair they expected from a Void Render, but something else entirely. Love. Pure, unconditional, childlike love that somehow bridged the gap between human innocence and alien suffering. The render's other claws moved slowly, carefully to enfold the tiny human in what could only be described as an embrace. When it spoke, its voice was no longer the roar of a monster, but the broken whisper of a lost child. So lonely, so long alone. Ambassador Zethkar dropped his datapad, his mouth hanging open. Around the chamber, hardened diplomats and seasoned judges wept openly as they witnessed something unprecedented in galactic history: redemption through compassion. The girl looked up at the creature's massive head, tears streaming down her face. "You don't have to be alone anymore. We can figure this out together. Humans are good at that." Chief Arbiter Velnara slowly set down her gavel. For the first time in her career, she had no idea how to proceed. The law was clear about the punishment for genocide, but the law had never accounted for this. As the chamber watched in stunned silence, the most feared predator in the galaxy continued to hold a human child. Its murderous rampage finally ended not by force or punishment, but by the simplest and most powerful force in the universe: human love. The beast had roared at the court with rage and fury, but it fell silent in the face of a child's compassion, proving once again why humans remained the galaxy's most inexplicable and extraordinary species.